Today, myself and Paul are going to be looking at day one of Ascot for the ITV7, where you can be in with a chance to win the jackpot if you can find a winner in all races. So not the easiest task, but we do at least have a couple of short-priced favourites to get us going. And that's the aim of the game. We're not trying to find value here. We're simply trying to find out which horse will win which race. So we get started with a 2:30, and hopefully, Paul, this one's quite straightforward in the Queen Anne Stakes.
Yeah, you'd imagine so. Like, you've a 1 to 5 favourite in BLACKBEARD. He's unbeaten. Like, I think Jim's, I think the fancy him to go unbeaten for the rest of the season. If one was have to bet to look outside away from the favourite, if you're having a bet in the outright market itself, possibly, I mentioned beforehand, Chindit was third behind BLACKBEARD and Real World in the Lockings last time out when they clashed. If he can be ridden with a bit more restraint, he might just be capable of nicking second place. He is a little under 2 lengths to reverse with Real World. And one that might just outrun his odds at bigger prices is Accidental Agent. He won this race. He's around about 40 to 1. He won this race back in 2018. He's refused to race since then. He has his quirks. He would need to step up to play a hand to get that second place if you are having an each way bet on him. But I do think he is capable of outrunning his odds at 40 to 1. So each way selection, Chindit, but has to be BLACKBEARD for the victory.
Yep, there's not much more to add. I mean, like I said, if we're just trying to find a winner, for me, BLACKBEARD is the best one miler in the world at current, and all things well should just go and win this. So one to watch and to throw in your rackers or to throw in your ITV7. The next race on the Tuesday is the 5+3, the Coventry Stakes, an exciting one. I personally am again looking at the top of the market in BLACKBEARD. You don't know a whole lot about these youngsters, and BLACKBEARD with 3 runs to his name, 2 over 5 and then 1 over 6, looks to be kind of polished as far as these youngsters go, knows his assignment here, and I think is a deserving favourite. So I'd be siding with the Aidan O'Brien trained BLACKBEARD. For yourself, Paul?
Yeah, I think the same. I'd side with you, Frankie, on this one. BLACKBEARD made all to win in a Group 3 at the Curragh last time out. He's 3 from 3. He doesn't have to make the running. He's been dropped in the past, so he's drawn his stall 14. He's 2 stalls away from Pairs and Force, who's drawn his stall 12. So if Pairs and Force goes forward, BLACKBEARD, like I said, he's versatile as far as tactics are concerned. One that might just outrun he's not much of an each way price, Royal Scotsman. He's around about the 17 to 2 mark, but I'd be sweeter on Royal Scotsman if he was drawn a little bit higher. He's drawn his stall 1 on the far side. He'd be, I think I'd be more confident with him of getting involved if he was maybe drawn a little bit higher. I thought I was quite impressed with him when he won at Goodwood last time out. He did create a very favourable impression. Jim Crowley takes them out. But BLACKBEARD for me as well.
2 races and 2 votes for the same horse. We might be off to a winning start. The next in the feature, the 340, the King's Stand Stakes, a real tricky international affair with Nature Strip in there from Australia, Golden Power from America. Twilight Calls will be your shortest priced English runner, and a couple more in there, Man of Promise and King's Lynn. A tricky one to decipher. You're trying to weigh up which form is going to stand up. I've always been in the Golden Power camp. I'm slightly worried as I'm looking at my screen now. There is a little bit of a drift, or maybe the money's coming for Nature Strip. We're not quite sure, but what's going on. But I'm just going to stay with that. I'm not going to worry too much about what the market's doing. And provided Golden Power gets there and runs his race, I think he's the one to beat. He's going to bullet from the front, and in case to catch me if you can, which might worry some people, especially as he was picked at Ascot as a youngster. But since he's run and won over 5.5, which kind of gives me that extra vote of confidence that over the quick 5 furlongs, he's not going to slow up and will just keep on going. So Golden Power for me, despite the drift, hopefully it's nothing too serious.
Yeah, I think he will love the ground. I don't think there'll be a horse ahead of him after half a furlong. Nature Strip, just gone through his form, he doesn't break all right from the stalls. He's either lightning quick from the gates or he's pretty slow, and he could be last after half a furlong. He's going to need to be quick away. Bigger concern here, I think, would be as Irad Ortiz comes in here in terrific form. He won the Belmont Stakes at Belmont Park on Saturday night, but I thought I thought Jerry Bailey summed it up in the preview up to the Belmont Stakes. He gave it a great run into it, in that the jockeys who are unfamiliar with Belmont Park, you just have to know coming around the bend when to kick. And it's like a bit like yourself, Frankie. If you're driving to Cheltenham from London, you can do it. You put the keys in the ignition, you're off down M25, M4, and you're back home. But if you're driving up to Nottingham, you just have to be that bit more switched on up the M1. You might miss your turn off if you're not concentrating. Irad is going to have his work cut out here, I think, to be watching the Australian horse. The Americans, the first 2 furlongs in America are generally the fastest 2. Where in England and Ireland, it's the middle section, the middle 2 furlongs are generally the faster 2. So Irad's going to have to, he'll be quick away from the gates, but he's going to have to try and get an anchor on Golden Pal just to see out the trip here. He loved the ground. I think he has every chance of, when he was beaten at Ascot before, that wasn't good to soft ground, which would have blunted that speed. He's so fast. Like, he had no right really to win at Del Mar in the Breeders' Cup. He was drawn the widest of the field. Yet, I think after half a furlong or so from that wide draw, he was gone. He was clear, and it was race over. But we mentioned it last week. We're in the Golden Pal camp.
Brilliant. Well, that moves us on to the 420, the St. James's Palace Stakes, and as we go through this, especially for day one, it is worth reiterating that, or for myself anyway, we're trying to find winners, and I'm trying to keep it straightforward. If I'm trying to go through the card and get 7 from 7, I'm more than likely going to be looking at the top of the market, and COROEBUS really is the obvious choice. I'm not going to say that I'd be having a bet at around 4 to 5, I don't think, but just simply trying to find the winner of the 2,000 guineas has done nothing wrong. Won well and looked really impressive that day, and you're just kind of hoping and thinking that he's going to back that form up here. And I think what makes COROEBUS so short is that there's not a huge amount in the race that gets you worried. You go through the rest of the card and there's a couple of question marks about most of them. COROEBUS, on the other hand, is just rock solid. Something I think maybe you mentioned, Paul, which you might flag up, is just that all of his work has been at Newmarket. So this is his first away day. That would be your only kind of chink in his armour. But besides that, I'm with COROEBUS myself. What about you, Paul?
Yeah, I think for the win, for the ITV7, if you're playing, you can't look away from him. If you're getting involved with that, for the win, it has to be COROEBUS. He looked an absolute monster, I thought, in his last 2 starts. Even I think William Buick, like, going into the Guineas last time out, he didn't have an easy decision to make. Like, I thought he looked a bit of a beast 2 starts back towards the back end of last season, and he backed that up. And it was, what William Buick's decision was the Dialer's gain. He takes the beating here. If you were just having a bet in the outright market again, one that I liked was Maljum. I thought he was an interesting entry. He's taken his chance here. He was a winner in Germany when last seen back on the 22nd of May. He took the German 2,000 guineas. So Stevie Dunhu was on board on that occasion. It's interesting. I'd imagine Tom Marquand would have had the choice, and if that's the case, can't confirm it. But if that is the case, he's gone with My Prospero, which would be a slight concern if you're having a small each-way wager on Maljum. But I think Maljum, he's around about the 10-1 mark, and he might just nick second place, but COROEBUS takes the beating.
COROEBUS takes the beating, I agree. On race 5 o'clock, the Ascot Stakes, the first handicap of the day, over 2 miles and 3 furlongs. And an interesting one, because we've got the Jumps boys in there. Mullins tops the market with Bring On the Night. Pied Piper, it's a very popular horse throughout the season for Gordon Elliott. Prashima for Dan Skelton in there. There's all sorts going on in this. It's a big field, tricky one, with the weights to kind of work out and decipher. I'm going to go with the Dan Skelton trained Prashima, a horse that's just incredibly versatile, has won and competed at varying distances, ground, has won 2 flat races last summer, and comes into this, I think, at top weight, which is my only question mark. But he's mixed in with the best, as I said, varying trips, staying trips, travels well. And I think if it turns into a bit of a fight at the end of a maybe cruisy 2 miles, then I'd fancy Prashima to battle this one out. So a tricky race, but yeah, one a bit further down. We're not looking at the top anymore. Prashima for me. What about yourself, Paul?
I think Rashun is interesting. He's a course and distance winner off his current marker 97. Richard Kingscott takes them out free in Williams. However, his cause could have been greater helped with a kinder draw. He's drawn out in stall 19, which has done him no favours. The horse that I've sided with is the John Queally trainer, Arcadian Sunrise, who had his run checked slightly when finishing fourth at Chester last time out under Jamie Spencer. Shrewd connections have gone for the talented Harry Davis, who claims a valuable £5 off 9 stone 9. He can be a little bit keen, which is a slight concern. I'd imagine the first couple of furlongs might be a little frantic as jockeys jockey for position. But I think at some stage during this, whoever's at the front will drop anchor. And I think that might just stack the field up. So that won't help Arcadian Sunrise his chances if that happens. And another slight concern will be the quick ground. He's never ran. This will be the fastest ground he's encountered to date. But like I said, he represents a shrewd trainer in John Kiley, who's gone for the services of talented Harry Davis. So that's Arcadian Sunrise for me.
Harry Davis to open Ascot week with a winner would be good for the young lad as well, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. And he's incredibly well tuned. Like he's in the right yard and what have you. But he's his head screwed on. Like he's very mature for his age, and he rides. He's such a talent. He's incredible.
Yeah, no, he is. He's class. I spoke to him up at York, and like you said, he's very professional. He's a nice lad, so it'd be great to see that. Next up, we go to the 5:35, the Wolverton Stakes, a listed race, and that is the key to my selection here in Fox's Tails. Who, if you go back through form, fourth, Ilarab won that race. Second, Mostadaf won that race. Seventh, pretty poor. Second, and then you find a winner actually in a Group 3. But all of those races are in group company. And for all that there are some high numbers in there in terms of a result, a fourth and a seventh, hasn't been too much wrong with his racing. He's just been mixing it in with slightly better maybe than he is, and now comes into listed company. I know it's Ascot, so races are above their grade, so to speak. But the key for me there is that he's just been running well and defeating and might get his chance here, Fox's Tails. For you, Paul, where are we looking?
Well, I'd love to see Dougie Costello bag another Royal Ascot winner.
Yeah.
His work ethic, he's a Cheltenham Festival winning jockey and already a Royal Ascot winning jockey. He took the Commonwealth Cup on quiet reflection for Cara Burke, and his work ethic is just insane. Even as he gets older, I'm not sure if he's got much wiser with it. Just to give you an insight, Frankie, like Dougie would think nothing of getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning, 3:30, and going to drive, do a 12-hour round trip, maybe even just to ride out to get rides. Like his work ethic is incredible, and it's, you'd love to see it pay off for Dougie. Mm-hmm. But the horse I've gone with here is Majestic Dawn. I think the ground might be a little bit quick for Cadillac. Majestic Dawn, I've gone with. He was a good winner. I was impressed with him last time out. He made all to win a listed event at Goodwood. I thought he was really impressive. He's finished third on quick ground in the past. Jim Crowley takes the mount, and Cadillac had a good winner last time out. I just think the ground will be too quick for him. He will likely go forward from stall number 3. Majestic Dawn can slot in, hopefully in the first 4 or 5, and pounce late in the hands of Jim Crowley.
Fantastic. The last one that we look at, the 6:10, the Cobble Horse Stakes, another big field handicap, and I'm keeping it just straightforward here with Brian trained Cleveland. I saw this horse win at Chester, which was, they stepped it up a mile in trip, and they really didn't know how it was going to pan out. And I remember chatting to them that day. They were quite confident that this is a good horse they had on their hands, that he would stay. And they were very kind of keen for the sunshine to stay out as well. And I think the more the sun is shining, the shorter this horse seems to be getting in the betting as well. And after that win at Chester, to come into this race over a middle distance, 1 mile 6 this is, so a step down from last time out, but in between the two, I think could be the key to unlocking maybe even more potential for Cleveland. So that's where I'd finish off for my selections. Paul, where are we looking in this big handicap puzzle?
All Right Sunshine gets the tentative nod here. He finished third on his last couple of starts, finished second at Haydock on quick ground last season, and he's a nice draw in stall 5 to get out and get a good position, and he might just run well at a bit of a price. All Right Sunshine for Keith Dalglish and Billy Garrity. Interesting, the connections have opted not to claim off 9 stone 6 here, running off the mark at 99. So All Right Sunshine for me.
All right, Sunshine, to wrap it up. Well, that is it for the first 7 at Ascot. Obviously, some short price faves to definitely, I think if there was a day across the week, this is the one to have a crack at the ITV7 because there are a lot of shorties, there are a lot of likeable favourites, and you can keep it kind of straightforward. As we go through the week, it gets a little bit trickier, but you've got some superstars in here that we're all hoping should go and win. That's all from today. We'll be going through the card for the ITV7 for every day of Ascot. So choose in, comment, and get involved with your own selections.